The galaxy believed Earth was weak. That belief would become the greatest mistake in recorded history. For 2 decades, alien empires watched humanity with polite amusement. Humans were clever, yes, but small, divided, and technologically behind. Their fleets were modest. Their colonies few. Their voices on the Galactic Council were ignored. No one noticed the rocks drifting quietly through human space. No one questioned why certain asteroids were never mined. And no one imagined that planets themselves were listening, waiting. A galaxy that looked away. The Zorvati Dominion ruled through fear. Their ships were ancient and brutal, forged from living crystal and powered by technologies stolen from conquered worlds. When the Dominion spoke, star systems obeyed. When humanity refused to hand over its outer colonies, the response was immediate. An invasion fleet of 3,000 warships crossed into Sol territory without resistance. Their formation was flawless, terrifying in its precision. To the rest of the galaxy, the outcome was obvious. Another young species was about to be crushed. Commander Elias Rourke watched the fleet arrive from the command deck of Earth Defense Station Horizon. He felt no panic, no fear, only a calm certainty. "They still don't see it," he said quietly. His crew exchanged glances. Every one of them knew what that meant. The ultimatum. The alien message came exactly 1 hour after arrival. "This is High Admiral Zalcorin of the Zorvati Dominion," the voice boomed across every human channel. "You will surrender all military authority and accept Dominion governance. You have 30 minutes. The message ended without negotiation. On Earth, crowds gathered in silence. On Mars, children were moved into shelters. Across the solar system, human forces did not scramble. They waited. Deep beneath the surface of Luna, Admiral Hannah Okoye stood before a single control console. Her hands hovered over a switch that had not been touched in 15 years. "Status?" she asked. "All Titan units report green," replied Director Samuel Pike. "Disguises intact. Power reserves at 98%. Okoye nodded once. "Then we wait for their answer." The lie of the stones. To the Zorvati, Sol looked ordinary. A yellow star. Inner rocky worlds. A scattered asteroid belt. A few icy moons. Nothing threatening. What they did not know was that 7 of those objects were not natural anymore. 15 years earlier, humanity had made a decision. They could never outgun the galaxy ship for ship. So they did something different. Something absurd. Something no alien mind would consider logical. They turned planets into weapons. Not quickly. Not loudly. Piece by piece. Atom by atom. Asteroids were hollowed and rebuilt from the inside. Moons were reinforced with layered armor kilometers thick. Entire ecosystems were preserved on internal surfaces while machinery grew beneath them like metal bones. The galaxy saw rocks. Humanity saw fortresses. 30 minutes end. Admiral Zalcorin waited. His fleet drifted forward, weapons charged, confident. Then Earth responded. "This is Admiral Okoye of the United Human Systems," she said calmly. "We decline." Silence followed. "You decline." Zalcorin repeated, confused. "You are facing extinction." Okoye smiled faintly. "No," she said. "You are." She pressed the switch. When planets began to move. Across the solar system, ancient stones awakened. The asteroid designated Helios, 9 split apart like a cracked shell. Miles of false rock peeled away, revealing gleaming black armor beneath. Massive structures unfolded, rotating into position with impossible precision. Near Jupiter, the moon Calero shuddered. Its surface fractured, not from damage, but from release. Weapon arrays larger than cities emerged, glowing with restrained energy. Saturn's rings trembled as a hidden mass shifted among them. 7 celestial bodies moved at once. The Zorvati sensors screamed. "These are not ships," an officer shouted. "They are planets." Too late. The first shot. Captain Mara Vance stood aboard Aegis Prime, the largest of the Titan units. She felt the vibration through the deck as the core reached combat readiness. "Target the flagship," Admiral Okoye ordered. "Minimal output." "Minimal." Mara raised an eyebrow but complied. "Fire." No beam was visible. No explosion bloomed. The Zorvati flagship simply vanished. Where it had existed, there was now only glowing dust, its crystalline structure unraveled at the molecular level. Shock rippled through the alien fleet. What weapon was that? Someone screamed over open channels. The answer was silence. Panic in perfect formation. The Zorvati fleet broke discipline. Ships turned and collided. Orders overlapped. Their weapons fired wildly, striking nothing. When they did hit, their beams splashed harmlessly across Titan armor that had been designed to absorb planetary impacts. Human weapons answered calmly. Each shot erased dozens of enemy vessels. Not violently. Cleanly. Lieutenant Jonah Reyes monitored energy output from Aegis Prime. "We're at 2% capacity," he reported. 2%. The galaxy's most feared fleet was being erased with spare power. The message sent. After 4 hours, it was over. Less than 200 Zorvati ships escaped. The rest were gone, not wreckage, not debris, simply removed from existence. No human ship was damaged. No human life was lost. Admiral Okoye opened a galaxy-wide broadcast. "Let this be known," she said. "Humanity does not seek domination. But we will never be prey again." Behind her, through reinforced observation glass, a planet-sized warship slowly rotated back into shadow, its disguise already beginning to reform. To the galaxy, it would soon look like just another moon again. But now they knew. And they were afraid. No one celebrated when the battle ended. Across human space, there was silence, not the silence of fear, but the silence that follows something too large to fully understand. Humanity had revealed its greatest secret, and the galaxy had watched in shock. Planets were not supposed to move. Moons were not supposed to fire weapons. And no young species was supposed to rewrite the rules of war in a single day. Yet that was exactly what had happened. Echoes of a shattered fleet. The surviving Zorvati ships fled in every direction. Their commanders sent frantic warnings across hyperspace, messages filled with disbelief and terror. "Do not engage humanity." They weaponized celestial bodies. "We were erased." Those messages reached worlds that had never feared anything before. On the crystalline capital of the Zorvati Dominion, the ruling conclave listened in stunned silence as the battle data replayed. Entire squadrons vanished between one frame and the next. Energy readings defied known physics. Armor ratings meant nothing. For the first time in centuries, the Dominion did not know how to respond. "They should not exist," one elder whispered. "They were primitives." Another replied softly, "They were patient." Humanity does not chase. Back in Sol, Admiral Hannah Okoye stood down the Titan units. One by one, the planet-sized warships reduced their power signatures, reassembling their disguises. Rock flowed back into place. Ice reformed. From a distance, they once again appeared natural. But the galaxy would never forget what lay beneath. Commander Elias Rourke watched the last Titan slip into orbital shadow. "We could have chased them," he said. Okoye nodded. "Yes. And then we would become what they feared." She turned away from the screens. "Let the survivors spread the story for us." The Council in crisis. 3 days later, the Galactic Council convened in emergency session. Attendance was mandatory. The chamber was vast, designed to intimidate smaller species. Floating platforms adjusted gravity and atmosphere for each representative. 4 decades, humans had been placed at the outer edge, literally and politically. This time, the center platform was reserved. Ambassador Lena Morales arrived alone. No guards. No display of force. Just a calm human in a dark suit. The murmurs began immediately. They built planet weapons. They hid them in plain sight. How many more? High Speaker Tesran, an ancient being of shifting light, struggled to maintain order. The Council will come to order, it intoned. We are here to discuss recent events. All eyes turned to Morales. Fear wears the mask of politeness. The Council recognizes the human union, Tesran said carefully. Perhaps misunderstandings occurred. Morales smiled politely. For 20 years, she said, her voice steady, human colonies were taxed unfairly. Our borders were violated. Our technology was restricted. All justified by the claim that we were not ready. She paused, letting the silence stretch. We prepared anyway. Several representatives shifted uncomfortably. We do not seek retribution, Morales continued. But we will no longer accept decisions made about us without us. A ripple passed through the chamber. And the warships? Asked a reptilian delegate. How many? Morales tilted her head. Enough. How humanity thought differently. Elsewhere, far from politics, the story of the Titans was being studied. Dr. Kieran Holt stood before a room full of scientists and engineers on Mars. His audience included humans, and aliens who had requested access, desperate to understand. They assume power comes from bigger guns, Holt explained. So they build ships. He gestured to a rotating hologram of a hollowed asteroid. We asked a different question. What already exists that no one would ever suspect? The answer had been obvious once asked. Asteroids were everywhere. Moons were ignored. Planets were considered immovable. Humanity used time as a weapon. 15 years, Holt said. That's all it took. Because no one was looking. A galaxy reconsiders humanity. Trade lanes shifted almost overnight. Fleets that once patrolled aggressively now kept respectful distance from human space. Old treaties were quietly reviewed. Some were withdrawn entirely. Most telling of all, no one challenged humanity's borders again. Captain Mara Vance walked through the internal gardens of Aegis Prime, artificial sunlight warming her face. Children played there, families of crew who had lived aboard the Titan for years without ever knowing the truth. We built gods and hid them as homes, she said softly. Her first officer nodded. Only humans would think that was normal. The unasked question. Despite the fear, curiosity grew. If humanity had built 7 Titan units in secret, what else had they done quietly? Sensors across the galaxy began noticing strange things. Human colonies were unusually self-sufficient. Their logistics networks were decentralized. Their ships, small by comparison, were absurdly adaptable. Humanity was not just powerful. It was resilient. And that scared the old powers more than any weapon. A message that changed everything. 1 week after the battle, humanity sent a second broadcast. It was shorter than the first. President Asher Verma stood before a simple background. No warships. No threats. We did not build the Titans because we wanted war, she said. We built them because history taught us that peace without strength is permission. She looked directly into the camera. We will share knowledge. We will trade. We will cooperate. But we will never disarm our future. The message ended. Across the galaxy, leaders realized something chilling. Humanity had not shown its full hand. It had shown restraint. The seed of a new era. On a distant neutral world, a young alien engineer replayed the battle footage again and again. Not in fear, but in awe. They didn't rush, she whispered. They waited. She began sketching designs inspired not by human weapons, but by human thinking. Others did the same. The galaxy had changed, not because humanity conquered it, but because it proved that creativity could be stronger than tradition. And somewhere, hidden beneath stone and ice, 7 silent planets listened, ready, but hoping never to move again. The galaxy did not sleep after Sol. It watched. Every signal from human space was analyzed. Every trade ship departure logged. Every scientific transmission translated and retranslated. The older civilizations had always believed that power announced itself loudly. Humanity had proven the opposite. Power could whisper. Fear changes shape. On dozens of worlds, military doctrines were rewritten overnight. Admirals who had once dismissed humans now argued behind closed doors. They didn't win because they were stronger, one strategist said. They won because they planned longer than we think. That thought spread faster than fear. Because if humanity had planned for 15 years in silence, what were they planning next? The visitors from the dark. 6 months after the Battle of Seoul, something new appeared. Not an invasion fleet. Not a council envoy. A single ship. It emerged at the edge of human space without weapons powered, engines idling peacefully. Its design was unfamiliar, smooth, asymmetrical, ancient. Galactic sensors struggled to classify it. The ship sent one message. We request dialogue. Not as rulers. Not as enemies. But as observers. Admiral Okoye read the message twice. Bring them in, she said. Those who had been watching humanity first. The visitors called themselves the Ashari Collective. They were old. Older than most empires. They did not conquer. They studied. They believed civilizations followed predictable paths: expansion, dominance, collapse. Humanity disturbed their models. Envoy Cyril of the Ashari stood within a human diplomatic chamber, its form shifting gently like liquid glass. You are inefficient, Cyril said, not unkindly. You waste energy on art, emotion, redundancy. Ambassador Morales smiled. And yet, Cyril continued, you weaponized patience. That is new. The Ashari had observed the galaxy for millennia. No species had ever hidden planet-sized warships in plain sight. Why? Cyril asked. Morales answered simply. Because we assumed someone stronger would come. The revelation of the question. Cyril's form stilled. You did not build the Titans to win a war, it said slowly. You built them to survive one. That realization unsettled even the Ashari. Humanity did not prepare for victory. It prepared for loss. And planned beyond it. A threat older than empires. The Ashari revealed why they had finally stepped out of the shadows. There is a force beyond your borders, Cyril said. We call them the Null Expanse. They erase civilizations not through conquest, but through silence. Stars dim. Signals vanish. Entire regions go dark. The older empires had ignored the signs. Humanity had not existed long enough to know. You will encounter them, Cyril said. Sooner than you think. Admiral Okoye leaned forward. Then why tell us? Cyril's answer was honest. Because you are the first species we believe might adapt fast enough to matter. Humanity's second secret. In a secure facility beneath Earth's oceans, Project Farwake was activated. Unlike the Titans, this project was not about weapons. It was about ideas. Distributed command. Self-learning logistics. Civilian-military integration. Cultural resilience modeling. Humanity had learned something from centuries of internal conflict. If one system failed, another must survive. Dr. Alina Jew explained it best. We don't bet on a single solution, she said. We bet on many small ones. The Ashari studied this with fascination. Your strength is not centralized, Cyril observed. It is everywhere. The galaxy watches again. News of the Ashari meeting leaked, despite security. Panic followed. Ancient observers feared humanity. Now ancient observers trusted humanity. That frightened the old powers more than the Titans ever had. Coalitions formed, not to attack humanity, but to align with it. For the first time in galactic history, treaties were written that included emotional language. Human language. Words like mutual trust. Shared survival. Collective curiosity. The galaxy was changing its tone. First contact with the silence. The warning came without drama. A fringe monitoring station near human-allied space went quiet. No explosion. No debris. Just absence. Sensors showed a star still burning, but nothing orbiting it. No signals. No background noise. Commander Elias Rourke stared at the data. "This isn't an enemy," he said. "It's an eraser." Admiral Okoye closed her eyes briefly. "Wake the Titans," she ordered. Not a war, but a test. As the planet-sized warships shifted subtly, not revealing themselves fully, humanity did something unexpected. It sent probes. Thousands of them. Simple. Cheap. Curious. The null expanse reacted. Space itself distorted. Probes vanished, but data returned milliseconds before deletion. Patterns emerged. "They don't think," Dr. Ju said. "They respond." Humanity smiled at that. Because humans were very good at learning patterns. The question answered. Envoy Cyril watched as humanity adapted in real time. "You do not panic," it said. "We've practiced," Morales replied. "For what?" "For the day something stronger than us shows up," she said. "That's what being human means." The Ashari finally understood. Humanity was not dangerous because it built planet-sized warships. Humanity was dangerous because it refused to stop imagining futures and preparing for them. As the darkness at the edge of known space stirred, one truth became clear across the galaxy. The Titans were not humanity's greatest creation. They were humanity's promise to never be helpless again. The first direct encounter with the null expanse did not look like a battle. There were no enemy ships. No formations. No weapons fire. There was only disappearance. The edge of nothing. At the boundary of human-allied space, the stars began to fail. Not explode. Not collapse. They simply went quiet, like candles snuffed without wind. The Titan units moved into defensive positions, their immense mass bending local gravity. For the first time since their creation, they faced something their designers had never tested against. "Energy readings are unstable," reported Commander Elias Rourke from Horizon Station. "The Expanse isn't attacking the Titans." Admiral Okoye frowned. "Then what is it doing?" Dr. Alina Ju answered from the Science Channel. "It's ignoring them." That sentence chilled the room. The limits of power. Aegis Prime fired a calibrated probe beam, minimal output, carefully tuned. The beam vanished halfway to its target. No reflection. No absorption. Gone. Lieutenant Jonah Reyes stared at his console. "It didn't block the shot," he said. "It removed the space it traveled through." For the first time in humanity's rise, raw power meant nothing. Captain Mara Vance felt it in her bones. "We can't outgun this," she said quietly. "No," Okoye agreed. "So we won't try." A human response. Humanity did not panic. Instead, it did something profoundly human. It asked questions. Across Earth, Mars, Luna, and the Titan units themselves, civilians were invited into the discussion. Engineers, artists, mathematicians, linguists, philosophers, not soldiers alone. The Ashari Collective watched in confusion. "You involve non-combatants in existential defense?" Cyril asked. Morales nodded. "Especially them." Understanding the silence. Dr. Ju led a team that noticed something strange. The null expanse reacted only to complexity. Simple probes passed unnoticed. Complex systems vanished. "It's not hostile," Ju realized. "It's selective." Selective erasure. "It removes patterns it cannot resolve," she continued. "Like noise cancellation on a cosmic scale." Humanity leaned into that idea. "If it erases complexity," Rourke said slowly, "what happens if we give it something simple?" The simplest thing humans knew. Music. It was an idea no alien strategist would have proposed. Human engineers converted Titan communication arrays into resonance broadcasters. Not language. Not code. Rhythm. A single repeating pattern pulsed into the expanse. The expanse reacted. Space rippled, but did not erase the signal. Dr. Ju's eyes widened. "It's listening." When humanity spoke without words, the next transmission layered rhythm with variation. Not random. Emotional. Intentional. human heartbeats, breathing, laughter patterns, the rise and fall of voices telling stories around fires long before spaceflight. The expanse hesitated. For the first time, it did not advance. Envoy Cyril trembled slightly. "This has never happened," it said. "No civilization has ever slowed it." Morales whispered, "We're not trying to stop it. We're trying to introduce ourselves." The risk humanity took. The Titans powered down their weapons. Every human commander protested. But Okoye stood firm. "If this thing erases threats," she said, "then let's not be one." The galaxy watched in disbelief as humanity lowered its shields. Contact. The expanse changed. Not physically. Conceptually. The darkness began to resolve into structure, not ships, but shifting voids responding to stimulus. Dr. Ju spoke softly. "It's not a force," she said. "It's a process. Ancient. Automatic. A galaxy-wide reset mechanism. Triggered when civilizations reached a certain threshold of complexity. Humanity had reached it, and survived. The answer no one expected. The Ashari had always believed the cycle was inevitable. Humanity refused that answer. Instead of resisting erasure, humanity adapted to it. They redesigned systems to be modular, redundant, emotion-driven, hard to classify. They embraced inefficiency. Art, story, culture, things that could not be cleanly erased. The Titans became something new, not weapons, but anchors. Stabilizers that held space in place through layered simplicity. Planet-sized symbols of continuity. The galaxy changes again. The null expanse did not retreat. It integrated. It flowed around human space, avoiding it, not because of fear, but because it could no longer define it as noise. Humanity had become unpredictable. The expanse moved on. The galaxy exhaled. What humanity learned. Weeks later, Admiral Okoye addressed the Galactic Council. "We did not defeat the expanse," she said. "We learned to live beside it." The chamber was silent. "Power did not save us," she continued. "Curiosity did. Creativity did. And the refusal to believe that survival belongs only to the strongest." She looked around the room. "If the galaxy wishes to endure," she said, "it must learn to value what cannot be erased." The quiet victory. Captain Mara Vance walked once more through Aegis Prime's gardens. Children laughed. Artists painted. Engineers argued cheerfully. The Titan's core hummed, not with weapons power, but with life support, farms, and communities. A planet that moved. A warship that listened. Humanity had not just survived the greatest threat it had ever faced. It had changed the rules of existence itself. And the galaxy would never look at humans, or planets, the same way again. The galaxy did not celebrate humanity's survival. It studied it. For the first time since recorded history, an extinction-level force had passed through known space and chosen not to erase something. That single fact shattered assumptions older than empires. And at the center of that exception was humanity. After the silence passed. In the months following the encounter with the null expanse, space slowly returned to normal. Trade routes reopened. Signals stabilized. Stars that had dimmed began to shine without distortion. But something fundamental had changed. Civilizations that once chased efficiency began to hesitate. Centralized systems were redesigned. Art, culture, and redundancy, once considered wasteful, became strategic priorities. Because humanity had survived not by being perfect, but by being messy. The Titan's new role. The 7 planet-sized warships never fired another shot. Instead, they became something unprecedented in galactic history. They became cities. Aegis Prime hosted scientists, artists, diplomats, and refugees from dozens of species. Its internal ecosystems grew richer each year. Forests thrived beneath artificial skies. Oceans were carefully balanced. Life existed inside a weapon that had chosen not to be one. Captain Mara Vance stood on a balcony overlooking a shared plaza where humans and aliens walked side by side. "We built these to end wars," she said. Her first officer shook his head gently. "No," he replied. "We built them so wars wouldn't be necessary." The question of legacy. The Galactic Council reconvened one final time, not in crisis, but in reflection. Envoy Cyril of the Ashari Collective spoke with something close to humility. "For millennia, we believed survival favored the oldest, the strongest, the most efficient," Cyril said. "Humanity disproved us." Ambassador Lena Morales listened calmly. "You watched civilizations rise and fall," she said. "You assumed the pattern was law." "Yes," Cyril admitted. "You broke the pattern." Morales corrected gently. "We didn't break it," she said. "We added to it." Why humanity was different. Dr. Alina Jew later summarized it best in a widely shared address. "Humanity evolved on a dangerous planet," she explained. "Earth tried to kill us daily: storms, diseases, predators, scarcity. So humans adapted in a specific way. They shared stories to pass knowledge. They built communities to survive loss. They imagined futures better than the present. We didn't prepare to be the strongest," Jew said. "We prepared to endure." The galaxy began teaching human history in its academies, not as mythology, but as strategy. The long view. Centuries passed. Humanity did not dominate the galaxy. It did not conquer worlds. It did not impose rule. Instead, it became a constant. Human trade networks emphasized resilience over speed. Human-led coalitions responded to crises with creativity instead of force. When new species emerged, humans were the first to greet them, not with demands, but with questions. And always, quietly, the Titans remained. Still disguised. Still watching. A child's question. On Aegis Prime, a human child once asked an alien teacher a simple question. "Why did everyone fear us so much?" the child asked. The teacher, a being of light and memory, paused before answering. "Because," it said, "you were young, and yet you planned like you would be here forever." The child frowned. "Isn't everyone supposed to?" The teacher had no answer for that. What the galaxy finally understood. Humanity never claimed to be perfect. It argued. It failed. It rebuilt. But when faced with extinction, humanity did not ask, "How do we win?" It asked something far more dangerous. "How do we continue?" That question reshaped the galaxy more than any weapon ever could. The final record. Long after the last witness to the Battle of Sol was gone, a single inscription remained in the Galactic Archive, carved in dozens of languages. It did not list fleets destroyed. It did not name admirals or victories. It read, "Here lived a species that turned planets into shields, stories into strategies, and fear into preparation. They were not the strongest. They were not the oldest. They were simply unwilling to disappear." The quiet ending. Deep beneath layers of stone and ice, 7 worlds continued to drift through space. To outsiders, they were just planets. To the galaxy, they were reminders that somewhere out there existed a species who would wait decades in silence, hide miracles inside ordinary things, and choose creativity when destruction was easier. Humanity never needed to move the Titans again, because the galaxy remembered what happened the last time they did.